I think many of us have been there. That feeling of frustration in a relationship.
Mm.
Wishing your partner would just, I don't know, see things your way or for it to change a little bit.
Yeah, or just wondering if things can actually get better if you feel like you're the only one trying.
Exactly. We always hear, it takes two to tango, right? And in marriage, that feels like it means it takes two to fix things. But what if that's not the whole story?
It's a really common assumption.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into something that might feel a bit, well, counterintuitive. It's about the huge impact just one person's actions can have on changing a whole marriage.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at ideas from the surprising way to a stronger marriage, how the power of one changes everything, by Michael and Amy Smalley.
Great source for this topic.
Yeah, and our goal here really is to unpack how focusing on your own responsibility, your own actions, can actually be the biggest catalyst for positive change. Even if your spouse isn't quite on board yet, or maybe doesn't seem to be doing much at all.
Right. But before we really get into the weeds, there's a really important point we need to make super clear.
Okay.
This deep dive, in the book it draws from, it's specifically for couples who are dealing with, let's say, the common stuff.
Yeah.
Irritations, disappointments, the usual struggles that kind of get in the way of intimacy.
Right, the everyday friction.
Exactly. It is absolutely not meant for anyone who's in an abusive situation. That's critical.
Okay, that's a really important distinction.
Yeah. I mean, if you're experiencing physical abuse or verbal abuse, like, constant criticism, character attacks, threats, or if your spouse has a serious diagnosed personality disorder, or there's criminal stuff going on, addiction, serial cheating.
Then this isn't the approach.
No. In those cases, safety has to be the #1 priority.
Yeah.
That needs intervention from police or professional counselors.
Mm.
The ideas we're talking about today are about personal responsibility, but only in non-abusive relationships.
Got it. Crucial clarification, thanks. So, getting into the material, there's this anecdote right at the start that kind of grabbed me. A couple comes up to the authors after a talk,
Yeah, I remember this one.
and the husband just asks, point blank, can you fix this marriage in 30 seconds or less? I mean, how do you even respond to that?
Huh. Yeah, it really shows that desperate desire for a quick fix, doesn't it? Like a magic wand.
Totally. But the author's answer wasn't what he expected, I bet?
Not at all. They kind of flipped it right back on him. They basically said, sure, you want to fix your marriage in 30 seconds? Okay. Start by changing yourself. Decide right now to be a loving, supportive, active, growing husband.
Wow. So the 30-second fix is an internal decision.
Exactly. It puts the power and the responsibility squarely back on the individual asking the question.
Not the magic pill he was looking for, probably, but actually really empowering when you think about it.
It's the word empowering, and it leads straight into their main idea, what they call the power of one. The book puts it pretty bluntly. When it comes to marriage, it's about time we all start growing up.
Oof. Straight talk.
Yeah. And being an adult, in their view, means taking responsibility for your own stuff, your actions, your feelings, instead of, blaming or playing the victim.
So shifting from just reacting to things.
To being proactive, yeah. And it really makes you think, what actually happens when we decide to own our own emotional responses instead of just being bounced around by circumstances?
That can be tough, though, can't it? I mean, someone says something hurtful, it feels like they made you feel bad.
Oh, absolutely. The initial sting is real.
But the book argues we're not slaves to our circumstances. That reaction we showed, that's our choice. People or situations don't make us unhappy. We choose how we respond.
Right. Amy Smalley gives a personal example. I think it's really relatable. She talks about feeling hurt by a mean comment, totally natural.
Mm-hmm.
But then if she takes that hurt and kind of lashes out at her husband or her kids or just stews on it all night,
That part's on her.
that's her choice, her responsibility. She chose that response. It's not about pretending the initial hurt didn't happen.
Right.
It's about acknowledging it and then deciding consciously what you're going to do with it. Are you going to let it control you, or are you going to choose a healthier path? It moves you out of that victim mindset.
Okay, so that's the theory, the concept. But does it actually work, like in messy, real-life marriages?
Well, the book gives a pretty compelling story about that. Amy worked with this couple,
Yeah.
both committing Christians, but the wife was just really shut down, closed off,
Okay.
and things weren't getting better. The breakthrough, according to the story, happened when the husband decided to fully embrace this power of one idea. He took responsibility, made the first move.
Even though she wasn't reciprocating initially?
Apparently not. He just kept offering unconditional love consistently. Now, that didn't mean being a doormat. He still set boundaries when he needed to.
Right, healthy boundaries.
Yeah. But the core was this consistent, loving approach from his side.
And what happened?
The transformation sounds pretty incredible. There's an excerpt from an email the husband sent to Amy later.
Oh, yeah. What did it say?
He wrote something like, "Vulnerability and honesty have freed her from her cage that had grown so dark and so deep." He talks about being amazed by God's grace, how it spared their family, restored freedom and love.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah.
So one person's sustained effort really did change the whole dynamic.
It seems so in that case.
Mhm.
It's a real example of this principle in action.
You know, that story, that kind of relentless commitment, it reminds me of that incredible account from the 2004 tsunami.
Oh, which one?
Mustafa Kamal, the truck driver,
Mm.
his 5-year-old daughter Rina was missing after the wave hit. Everyone probably assumed the worst.
Yeah, unimaginable situation.
But he just refused to give up. He searched relentlessly, street by street, day after day, just convinced she was alive. For a month.
A whole month. Wow.
Yeah. And incredibly, he found her. And when he did, he said something like, "I knew you were alive. I knew it, my precious little one. I did not give up. I kept looking."
Talk about the power of one person's determination.
Yeah.
Just sheer, unyielding belief and effort.
Exactly. It's that raw commitment. But, okay, connecting that back to marriage, how do you keep that up?
Yeah, that's the question, right? How do you find that relentless spirit in your relationship, especially when maybe your partner isn't meeting you halfway, or the outcome feels really uncertain, it feels vulnerable?
It does. And the book is honest. It doesn't promise your spouse will magically change overnight. There are no guarantees like that.
Right.
But what it does emphasize is that your commitment, your choice to be the best partner you can be, regardless, that is where the power lies. You can't just sit back and hope your spouse does the work you need to do yourself.
You lead by example.
Yeah. If you want things to be better, you be better. Focus your energy there. That's where your influence really is.
Okay, so if someone listening is thinking, all right, I get the idea, I want to try this,
Yeah.
how do they actually start applying it? What does that look like day to day?
Well, the book actually offers some practical steps framed as challenges or questions in the chapters.
Okay, like what?
One big area is really taking ownership. There's a chapter called "When the Truth is Hard to Swallow."
Uh-huh. Sounds fun.
Right. The challenge is basically look in the mirror, honestly ask yourself, what have I done that's negatively impacted this marriage?
Ouch. Okay.
And then the really hard part, communicate that to your spouse and ask for forgiveness. The idea is that ignoring your own faults just builds walls,
Right.
creates blame.
But it takes guts and humility.
Definitely. And it connects to another chapter, "It's Not My Fault," which, tackles that instinct we all have to blame the other person.
Oh, yeah, the blame game.
It pushes you to look at how you react when your spouse messes up or is hurting. Why do we jump to blaming? The book suggests it's often a kind of arrogance, making excuses for ourselves. It forces you to turn that finger back around.
So it's really about owning your reactions, even to their stuff.
Exactly. And then there's communication. Big one. A chapter called "Getting Off the Defense." The challenge there is, when conflict comes up, try to genuinely understand where your spouse is coming from, their needs, their feelings, before you jump in to defend yourself.
Because defensiveness just escalates things, usually.
Right. It rarely helps. Understanding, even if you don't agree, that's what builds connection.
And that links to another really interesting point they make in a chapter called "It's Never About the Facts."
Okay. What's that about?
The argument is that most fights aren't really about who's objectively right or what the truth is. It's usually about the feelings driving the argument. The hurt, the frustration, the fear underneath.
So getting bogged down in factual debates misses the point.
Totally misses the point. The real work is uncovering those underlying emotions. What's really going on for them and for you?
That makes sense. So beyond dealing with conflict, what else?
Well, there's a focus on mindset and some practical tools too, like the power of the positive.
Okay, is this just think happy thoughts?
Not quite. It's more strategic. It's about consciously training yourself to notice and appreciate the things your spouse is doing right, the things you value.
Shifting your focus.
Exactly. It's based on the idea that what you focus on grows. And crucially, it ties into the idea that your happiness isn't actually dependent on your spouse's behavior. You're in charge of your own inner state. Focusing on the positive helps build your resilience.
Okay, I like that. Taking charge of your own perspective.
Yeah. Then there's the miracle of the mirror. The challenge here is pretty direct. Focus on working on the key areas in your own life, need attention, and consciously stop worrying so much about fixing your spouse's issues.
Sort your own side of the street first.
Basically, yeah. The hope is that as you grow and change, it might actually inspire a positive response in them. It's like a ripple effect. You can't force it, but you create the conditions for it.
Makes sense. Are there specific tools mentioned?
Yeah, some practical things, like taking timeouts, not just storming off, but consciously pausing a difficult conversation to cool down, look inward, figure out where you need to adjust or what you need to take responsibility for. It's framed as an act of love, actually. Love for yourself and the relationship.
Taking responsibility even in the pause.
Right. And another big one they call the trillion-dollar question.
Ooh, intriguing. What is it?
It's basically just asking your spouse directly what they need from you, instead of assuming or guessing.
Ah, simple but profound.
Yeah. Questions like, what can I do to make this right? Or, how can I help you right now? Or simply, is there anything you need from me? It cuts through so much misunderstanding.
Yeah, assumptions can be relationship killers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating, isn't it, how these things that seem small, shifting your focus, asking a direct question, taking a mindful pause, can actually create these huge shifts in the whole relationship dynamic.
It really does sound like it puts the power back in your hands. So wrapping this part up, what's the big takeaway? It feels like an invitation almost.
Yeah, an invitation to a different kind of effort, maybe.
The book is clear, like we said. No guarantees your spouse will change on your timetable, or maybe ever. Anyone selling that is, quote, a liar.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But choosing to respond in healthy ways, focusing on your own growth, that will change you. And when you
change the way you move as a couple. That's how they put it. It shifts the dance.
And often, maybe more often than not, that positive change has a ripple effect, right? Like the golden rule in action.
Yeah, the book suggests that when you consistently treat your spouse well, with respect and love, even when it's hard, more than likely, they'll start to respond in kind.
Because they're being treated well, it creates a positive cycle instead of a negative one.
Exactly.
So the message seems to be, you don't have to wait. You don't have to feel powerless.
You can start fixing things yourself right now by focusing on you. And there's incredible freedom in that, the life-changing freedom of taking action.
That really is empowering.
So just to recap, we've really dug into this perhaps surprising idea that one person truly holds immense power to shift and strengthen a marriage.
Yeah, not by trying to force the other person to change, but by focusing inward on your own actions, your attitudes, your responses.
Exactly. It's not about letting bad behavior slide or blaming yourself for everything. It's about embracing your personal responsibility as maybe the most effective way forward.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, something maybe chew on.
Okay.
If those deep desires you have for connection, for intimacy, for a stronger marriage, if they really can begin with just one person's dedicated commitment, your commitment, what does that mean for how you might approach your relationship starting today?